Good evening, good morning, or whatever it is for you. Welcome back. My name's Noggy. Hope you're doing fine. Got the music ready, got the timer ready, got the random number generator ready. Also got the... what else? Oh, I gotta open Blender, of course. Because today, of all days, who would have thought we're gonna work with Blender? And we're not only gonna do another quick sketch as usual, but we're gonna do much more. First of all, of course, we're gonna do this quick sketch. You should see my screen now, yep. And then we're gonna go over to our good old Lady Dimitrescu, our long-term project. Where I'm gonna work on. Hopefully I can finish her face today, and then maybe even part of her body, and then we probably the next step would be probably to add her hair, and then after that we're gonna add her clothing. But of course, before we do that, as always, the good old daily quick sketch, 30 minutes quick sketch. 30 minutes on the clock. I am ready. I gotta grab my random number generator because we're gonna include a randomly picked 3D scan from my collection of 34 3D scans. I had the idea that I would mark every 3D scan I already have, so that when I use my random number generator, I can just reduce the amount of I can just type in the amount of 3D scans I haven't used yet, and this way we always get a new one, which is I think a better way than just rolling over and over again, because at some point you have like five of the three scans or 3D assets are new ones, and then it takes a long time to get a random one out of those. So what I'll do is I'll mark the ones we already had, and then we will always get a new one until all my 34 were used, and then I'm probably gonna just grab new ones. Yep, that's gonna be the first part. So, of course, let me switch to where's my browser? There it is, my random numero generatori. Then we go in here and switch the scene, screen capture. You could see my face and also a few windows. Oh, nice tunnel right there, nice wave. And we're gonna go in here and say 34 max, and let's generate 18. Let's see if we had 18 before. Go in here, we have 17 jack. Ooh, a new one right away, easy. Extract this right there. Let's see if it's an OBJ, then we can just import it. Oh, another extraction. Okay, we have an OBJ. Nice. Okay, so I usually don't show you how I import stuff, so I can show you that now. What I usually just do is, of course, delete this sphere in the beginning, and then we go over to File and then Import. We select the OBJ, and we go in here. Then we select my directory where I put it in, which is the resources, and then 3D database, 3D scans. Which one was the jackal statue? It's this one, and source right there. Just select it and then import OBJ. And there it is. Nice. Looks pretty cool. I'm excited what we can do with this. To be honest, in my experience so far doing these quick sketches, it's usually easier to work with objects that aren't as detailed than using stuff like this, for example, that have quite set shapes already. But maybe this one, I mean, you can always just include your... Let me switch back. Ooh. Hello, welcome back, Susan the Human. I never your channel. I think you forgot a word right there. I hope you your day was great so far. Mine was pretty good, pretty uneventful, but that... Oh, I never left your channel. Oh, so you were here all the way, even yesterday and throughout the night. I see, I see. Have you looked up some of your some videos or something to learn more about animation and 2D art. Of course, as I said before, hope your day was fine. Mine was, as I said, uneventful, but doesn't need to be a bad thing. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I gotta put in my texture and then we can start. Yeah, as I said, sometimes it's easier to work without any, like without a super crazy object, because that's just easier. Like if it's abstract, you can interpret more into it. But you can also always just put it somewhere in your scene. The last one before the last quick sketch, so quick sketch date 9, I just put my 3D scan TV somewhere in the scene where it made sense, and I think it will look pretty cool. Oh, you've done some movement tracing basically, or you filmed your own footage and then recreated it basically. How did it go? Did you see some stuff you want to improve next time, or what do you want to do next? Just do some more of those, or base texture? We gotta put that into the color. There it is. Okay, looks pretty cool. Of course, the color is pretty. It's already pretty rusty. We could maybe use that. Usually, I just go for more of a like artistic or colorful or abstract style, but maybe we can do something more realistic today. What is this? Normal. So we use a vector and then normal map, put that in there, select the UV map, put that into the color, and then normal into normal. There you go. Oh, that looks, wait, what? Maybe that's just the display. Okay, that looks interesting. Maybe we should make our own. Oh, he even has eyes. Do you mean you downloaded Flash, or you've downloaded an animation you want to recreate? Oh, so I guess you want to get to know the program better before you really start working in there, I guess. It's always fun. Like the most annoying part is just getting to know the program, and then once you know most of the stuff, you can just go ham and create your own stuff. That's the most fun part. Oh, you've decided to use Adobe Flash. The other one I think you said was Toon Boom, I think. Haven't heard that before, but haven't looked into animation that much recently. I guess is animation, Adobe Flash, I think that's free, right? I think I've used something similar before when I tried 2D animation. Occlusion, let's see, what does that look like? Oh, that just gives us some more dirt around the edges, so a little bit more realistic. So what we can do with this is, for example, if we go back to the material preview, we could maybe delete this, we don't need that. And then we can, oh, nope, not like that. We can use this and just make a color mix RGB. Select the diffuse color, put that into the mix node, and then we say we want to mix this diffuse color. Oh, we gotta reverse that, like that. Yeah, it's a jackal statue. It's I think some sort of metal statue that I'm gonna use for my 30-minute quick sketch that's gonna start in a second. Let me just quickly set up my notes and then we can start. course, the color should be something more brownish. More like that, and then some brown in there as well. Yeah, I think that looks better. Okay. We go to rendered view. Okay. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Maybe a little bit less saturation. And there you go. Okay. So, let me set up my timer. I think it's ready. There you go. And I think everything's set up. So, of course, I gotta set my output. Haven't saved that yet for my presets, EXR, and also the fastest to denoising data. Maybe mist as well, just to be sure. Probably won't help us, but why not activate it? Let's save that real quick so we don't lose any progress. Quick sketches, day 11. Oh, okay. Oh, not day 1. Day 11. Okay, there you go. So I guess you're just watching some tutorial first, some tutorials about the general, like a beginner tutorial for Adobe Flash, and then you're gonna start working on your animation. That would be my guess. Okay, so let me start. Record, and then I want to have my window still open. Put up SNAS, the good old timer, and 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so let's see. First of all, I'm gonna make this a little bit more realistic, so we can go in here, use the same texture we have here. We can then say use a color ramp just to give us a simple bump map. Maybe make it a little bit more drastic. Like that, just a nice black and white map, so we can use that for once for our bump. Put that into the color, into the height, normal into normal. And if we go to material, you should get, oh, of course we have to plug in the shader again. That's pretty crazy, so we can reduce the strength to maybe 0.1. Maybe, oh, we could maybe even reduce the, okay, strength maybe to a more like 0.25. Okay. We can say we can use the same color. Use another color ramp. Increase the blacks. Put that into the socket for the factor. Use this color for the roughness. Okay, that's quite rough. I mean quite shiny, so we can go in here. Make this let's see, this has to be whiter. We have a quite, you can let's keep it for quite shiny, and then maybe increase the whites like that. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, I mean we can still make something pretty oh, actually, let's try something. I want to use a different material. Let's just keep that and make a new node. Principal BSDF, good old Swiss Army knife. Put that in there. Put the base color to white, metallic full. I'm gonna make a nice chrome material. Specularity can be full. Roughness can maybe be 0.1. Or actually, no, let's put it to 0. Then let's see that in rendered view. Of course you can't see much because there's nothing to reflect. So what we have to do is first of all make a ground. We could maybe go in here, select one of those, or put the cursor down there. We can then say we move this pivot point to the 3D cursor, basically down there. And then we move it up to the ground height. Basically where the axes meet. We can then make a plane, which will serve as a ground. We have to reset the cursor, put that in there, give it a nice subdivision. Then maybe one more. We can then go in here and we can say select these 3 edges, scale them up, extrude them up like that. We can then go into the bottom part, inset, like that. Looks pretty good. Let's make this smooth, and then we can go in here. Let's set up our camera. Pretty easy. First of all, we're going to use an empty plane axis for the focus point. Call that focus. We can then set the camera using an object constraint to track the focus point, say on the -z. As always, then we select the camera and can just move it around. Let's actually look at it from the front. So actually we don't need the focus point for that, but we could maybe use it. So we move it up like that. We could maybe set let's experiment with this. Maybe we put the focal length to 200, so it's really flat. Or actually, maybe even the opposite. So we put it maybe to 20. Oh, then we can go closer. Okay, let's see. Looks interesting. Let's see what happens if we just move it around a bit. Maybe more like that, actually. We can then move this focus point so we have a different angle where we're looking at it from. I think that's the empty, yep. Okay, that looks interesting. We have our setup, and now we can go into rendered view in there. Oh, I like Chrome, especially if you have this white background. Maybe we can now work in here, maybe scale it up by a little bit, or even go in here and scale this interface down. So this isn't as sharp as before. We can then say we remove this. Maybe we don't have to remove it, we can just move it somewhere else. For example, up here, move it over there. Okay, 24 minutes left, easy peasy. So first light setup. Do we need more? Let's work on this before we do anything else. So we make a ground material, and then we can use stuff like texture, noise texture, plug that in, the color. Let's use a texture node, say object maybe. I think that's best for displacement, for the texture. We can then say detail, no, roughness, nope. And distortion, oh. Okay, doing some psychedelic theme. Oh, we should maybe close this in the front as well. So we have no gray reflections in there, and maybe even close the top as well. So like that. Ooh. Or maybe what happens if we, for example, just delete all these faces? What does that look like? Oh. Faces. Okay, that looks boring. We can go in here. Why is there no? Oh, because that's you have to put that into the factor. Base color. Plug that in again. Okay. Now we could maybe change these colors up a bit with a color ramp. Okay, maybe distortion, maybe just to 1. We don't need that much. Scale down, or maybe even up. I think it could be to too messy if we put it too high. Then we can go in here, for example, switch that to HSV. Near to, yeah, we can keep it at near. Put that to red. A nice red color. And this one, we can play around with it. Include multiple colors, maybe half. Ooh. I don't want to use the same colors over and over again, so I'll use something else than magenta or purple and blue. Let's see. We could maybe change the bottom part by using a gradient node. We put that down there. Use a texture, gradient texture. Let's check that. Does it needs mapping? Put that linear can stay. Object. There you go. Rotate it by not X, Y 90 degrees. So the bottom part can be black. We can say converter color ramp and constant to make it a harsh line. We can decide where it stops. We can say it stops right there. And then we can say we use this as our mask for this. Say color. Mix RGB. Mix RGB. Nope, actually we just use a second shader. So we duplicate that. We then say shader, mix shader. Plug in both of those. One there and one there. Use this as the factor. And we have to... Actually, let's see what it looks like when we have the color on the ground. So we just go down here, put the base color to something blackish. A nice gray black. Then we can say we put the... Actually, I want to try something. So what if we just plug this in and then use different colored lights in here? For example, we can change this to a point light, make this a nice bright cyan, maybe increase the strength to more like 3000. Also make another one, put that maybe to the side down there, right there. We can make that maybe even smaller. Okay, you can see it, I think, but that isn't that important. We could put it behind them, and then we could say we could make it a nice ooh. I'm back and using magenta again. Well, some things never change. We could increase the roughness maybe, like that. Specularity can be pretty low. Roughness. Actually, what happens if we just make this shiny as well? Maybe like a... Okay. We could then make another of these lights and make this another color. Maybe nice yellow or red. Green. Ooh. Green could be too much contrast. We could use an orange, I think, like that. Looks pretty good. And okay. We could maybe say that we use the gradient in here for the roughness. So put that down there, maybe disconnect it, just so it's not in the way of anything. We can then put this color ramp into the roughness, and we can say use another color ramp to decide the shininess. For example, this one is white, I think. Yep. So this one can be fully rough, maybe not completely, but like that. And this one can be probably black. Or let's invert that. Just use an invert color and invert. Put this color ramp into the color, put the color into the roughness. There you go. Okay. What does it look like without? Both have their own like interesting looks. What if we change the color to something darker? Okay. I think we need a general light as well. So we could maybe make a new light. Maybe an area light. Put that above the doggo. And we can say, first of all, let's make this transparent for the viewport. Put that to wire. Okay. We can then go in here. How much time do I have left? 60 minutes. Easy peasy. So much time. Change the color maybe to 500. Or actually we could maybe remove this. And then set this to the same color. Let's see if we can give this just a small texture. Maybe another noise texture. Let's see what that looks like. We use the same mapping. Put this to the side. Good old mapping object, and then change the scale, something bigger. Or actually, let's make it smaller. Make the details small. I mean, non-existent. There you go. Use this as a bump. Vector bump. Oh. Bump right there. Put the factor into the height. Normal into normal. Switch back to the shader. There you go. Oh. That's, I think, too much. Maybe if we increase the scale. Way higher. Some wavy shapes, maybe. Like that. Could be too... Let me change the scale a bit. Oh. Let's not use X. Let's use Y. Some nice waves down there. Also, maybe change the scale some more. Make them bigger. Like that. Maybe change the strength maybe to 0.5. Or even 0.25. Not too harsh. Okay, just to break up these lights a little bit. We could maybe even change the background to something else. If we use this. Put that into the roughness. How much time? 13 minutes. Perfect. Sometimes the timer runs out within like seconds, it feels like, and sometimes you have ages to work on a quick sketch. Kind of weird sometimes. But this one is quite enjoyable to work on. Not too stressful. I think I only had like one of the, I think 20 I did so far that were pretty like stressful. The other ones were pretty good. Let's see, maybe not. Okay, I think I'm gonna keep it like this. Maybe even change the scale. Let's put that back to 1. And then change the Z scale. Oh. Something pretty low. Maybe 0.1 or 2. Or even 0.05. Okay. That looks interesting. We could then even use... let's see, we could bring some atmosphere in here by just, for example, going in here and saying we use a principled volume, plug that in there, so the volume shader, set this to white, or just crash. Okay, never mind. Just slow. Put that back to solid view so we can work down there. Of course, first things first, we go in here. Maybe we could use a very shallow depth of field. we can make a new empty, which will be the depth of field, DOF. Go in here, select depth of field, activate it, and select the DOF. Then we can decrease it maybe to 1. Let's see, make the render view bigger to see better how the depth of field looks like. It's still pretty big, maybe 0.25. Ooh, maybe even more, maybe 0.1. That's too much, maybe let's see, let's put 2.2. Let's put the focus point somewhere else, maybe on his face. I think that's better. Like that. Put it closer to his eyes. Okay. Yep, I think that looks pretty good. So now we can use this volume, put the densities on 1. I think we have to use a new volume. Wait, how big is this? Okay, it's not too big, so it shouldn't be that big of a problem. How much time do I have left? 10 minutes. Okay, easy peasy. We could maybe go in here and delete this principle and just make a new cube. Make it bigger. Also, make sure it's not too big. Otherwise, it could be pretty performance draining. Okay. Set this and make a new material. Remove this part. And then say shader principled volume. Put the volume into the volume knob. Like this, put that to white, and the density maybe 0.1. Not too high, not too low. Ooh, this gives it a very interesting feel. Maybe 0.02. Okay. Okay. We could then go into the first of all, what I want to include as well is some particles in the air, which means in 9.5 minutes we can put in some particles. It's pretty easy. We just go into the cube settings, particle settings, add a new particle system, put the frame at end start to 1, number can stay the same, set the source to volume. Let me put that into display as wire, and then we can say render as render, not physics. We need the render as object. We could then maybe make a new type of object, a cone. Never used a cone as an atmosphere object before. We can then go into the cube, say render instance object, this cone. There you go. You can see all these cones flying around. We can then say scale can be higher. Also, scale randomness can be increased to 1. Then we can say we make these ones also chrome, maybe. I mean, it's not too bad. Let's keep it like that for now. We could maybe 7 minutes left, pretty easy. What we could do is actually let's make a new cone because I want to have a pyramid. Cone. Let's decrease the vertices to 4. Let's put it to the side. There you go. Select it as our particle object. Right there. There you go. And then what we can do is go into the rotation, apply that, say randomize to 1, and that's it. Those are pretty big particles, so we can decrease them using the scale setting. Maybe to a 0.7, nope, 0.075. Okay, that's better. Can even see some of them. Let me go into the camera setting. Let's change the speed to see some different results. Seed, let's change some more. Maybe we could get something better. Oh, this maybe. Yeah. Or there's not really much in front of the camera, so let's switch through some more. Maybe this one. Just trying to gamble for a good seed. Just like a Minecraft speedrun. Maybe a few more. If we can't find any good, then we just leave the first one, or the one we have then. So, maybe we can increase it to 2000, double the amount, and then go through a few seeds more. This one looks pretty good, so we can keep it. Okay. We could maybe make those 5 minutes. Maybe we could put them and make them not chrome, but oh, we have to apply the chrome shader. Is it this one? No, it's this one. No, they're chrome, but I don't think they really... Oh no, they're not. That's which one is it? This one? Yep, this one. I think we could use something else. Maybe we could use a glass shader. So let's go in here, put that to material preview. Select this, remove the material. Save it first, just to be sure. Remove the material, make a new one. And set this to roughness. Let's see, 5 minutes left. We can make our own glass shader. Just putting in the principal BSDF. Nope, let's remove this. Then we can say shader, mix shader, put this in there. Then we use a glass and also a glossy. Put those two in there. Then we use Fresnel, put that in there. Oh, wrong socket. Like that. Okay. And roughness to 0, roughness to 0. Okay. Now we can use a shader, which is the add shader. Put that in there. Use it one more time. We use the refraction. Duplicate that twice. Put the color to a nice red. Next one will be green. Last one will be blue. Like that. We can then plug this one into there. This one right there. We combine them basically. We can set the IOR difference maybe to 1.5 and 1.4. Okay. We plug this into the shader. Mix shader, I mean. And there you go. Let me see what it looks like in rendered view. Okay. We have this nice rainbow effect. What if I put a light behind this object? This cone. Okay. Now let's see what it looks like in the scene. 2 minutes 50 seconds left. Maybe there to... First of all, I want to set my color management to medium high contrast. Maybe even very high contrast. That looks pretty good. Put this to solid view. And save one more time. We could maybe go in here. Nope, into the ground setting. And add some more to this bump map by using another noise texture. Let's see what it looks like. Of course, we need the mapping with object vector. Then we use the detail, put that to 16, increase the roughness. Okay, now we can use the converter color ramp to give it more contrast. Okay. We can then combine those two using a mix RGB. Put this color into there, say multiply, and put that factor to 1. Then apply this shader, and this ground should be a little bit rougher and should have more like surface imperfections, I would say, or call it. Okay. Do we need more? I mean, what if we change this? No, that would change the whole image. We could maybe change this to a spotlight and say power to 2000. Okay, now that changes the whole image as well. So let's change that back. This looks better. Okay, let's save it one more time. Wait, where are my particles? They're just gone now. Where are they? How much time? 30 seconds. Let's see if we can recover our particles using the timeline. Wait, what? The particles are gone. Where are they? Oh wait, I removed my, oh my god. Okay, let's just put that in there. Render object like that. And put this shader on there. This one, I guess. Okay, save it one more time. Okay, that's it. Timer is over. Now on to post-production. We have saved it. We can go back to solid view. And we can remove this window. And we can go in here. Switch this to the compositor. Remove this. And we can now do our first render just to see what it looks like. Put the render sampling can stay at 32. Put this to 50% of the end aspect ratio. Save it one more time and hit render. Let me switch this to the image editor so you can see what I see. There you go. Okay, I'm interested to see if the glass pyramids actually look like something interesting. I mean, they look pretty, I mean, at least you can see them. I don't know if this one in the front is really helping the scene, because it's so blurry and right in front of the statue. Okay, let me use the good old denoise, put that in there. Denoising albedo, denoising normal. Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, can then use our good old glare filter. Maybe not streaks, let's see. Oh, what if we put that to high? Change that to a threshold of, let's say, 5 for now. You know, this glare node will not work with streaks. Maybe fog glow should work better. Okay, maybe put the threshold even higher. 10. This purple is so bright. I think we can go back to maybe even 1. Let's see. That's very shiny. You could put the size to 6. So it's not as big. Okay, let's put it to 7. Okay, maybe to medium. Okay. Pretty shiny, but I think we can work with that. Let's use color contrast, maybe even more. Let's see. Put that to 1. Does nothing. Okay, perfect. Let's remove that right away. And we will use saturation. We don't really need, I think. The only thing we could maybe need is a filter on there. So we will do that in Photoshop because that's easier. I looked up if you can use LUTs, like lookup tables or filters, color filters basically, how you know them from Instagram. If you can use them in Blender as well, you can, but you have to install them basically, and then you can select them. Of course, I haven't done that yet, so we have to work with what we have. So maybe we could use a lens distortion. Let's see if that is any use to us. Maybe 0.5. Oh, distorted, long ears. -0.1 maybe. I think that doesn't really do anything. Maybe 0.1. Okay, let's just not use that. We could maybe use dispersion, maybe 0.1, just a little bit. Maybe even this one will be really colorful. 0.25. Okay. Actually, let's put it to 0.2. Okay. Just slightly less of a dispersion. Okay, I think this is ready. So let's save it one more time. Let's increase the render resolution and also the sampling size to 128. Okay, let's close my timer. Let me close unused windows. Okay. Now we can render it and then we're done. Of course, this will take a while because there's so much in the scene, especially smoke and all that. So this will take a while. Let's see, remaining 6 minutes. Oh, maybe we should decrease the sampling amount for now. Yeah, let's do that. I don't want it to take so long. Maybe 3 minutes. Put that to half. 128. Let's save it one more time and render. Okay, 3 minutes, perfect. Okay, so while that's rendering, I can talk about what we're gonna do today. So basically, today is another project work day. Basically, I'm working on my new big project that I started yesterday. And I've selected a few topics we could talk about while I do that, just so I'm not only talking about what I do on screen, but also have like a topic we could talk about, and then yeah, just work on that. And if there are any questions or something, of course, hit me. So I have a few talking points I've noted so far. One of them is how you can learn, or what my approach would be to learn new skills, especially right now, because you can't really go somewhere, so it's the perfect time to learn new skills. You could also, another topic I have is, I could talk about how I learned Blender. I think some people asked me that before. Also, getting inspiration and how I just usually always have something that inspires me. I very rarely have like art block or something. Maybe that's just me, but maybe I like just my way of inspiring myself can help other people like overcome their art block. And also the last thing, getting motivated. How I am motivated, and maybe what talking about how you can find your motivation and how you can yeah, just motivate yourself through what you do and what you like. I think the easiest one or to start with would be how you can learn new skills. Especially right now, for example, 3D Blender or whatever. And then maybe we'll keep it at one topic per day. And yep, so we have a small list I could talk about. Once this is done, we can save it and we can go over to the main project of today. Shouldn't take too long now, remaining 23 seconds. Okay. This blob in the middle is still annoying, but well, whatever. 30 minutes is 30 minutes, no changes afterwards. Except color and all that. No layout changes. I think that's done almost. Yep. We'll see when it's done when there's no noise anymore. So in a few seconds and now. Okay, perfect. Let's save that. Save as. Of course not an EXR. We use PNG because that's smaller. And let's save it. Quick sketch 11 1920 by 1920. Save it, and there you go. We will switch to Photoshop. Let's save my file, and let me open Photoshop. Let's see if we can find a nice shader for this image. I mean, not shader, but a nice LUT, or what do you call it? Filter. And maybe we could change some other stuff as well. Maybe some lighting settings or something, just to get some more, like a better feel, like just make it look better, of course. Let me switch my scene to the screen cap so you can see Photoshop. Let me open up my image, wrong folder, right there. Put in the quick sketch render, and there you go. Okay, first of all, let's use, let's see, lighting. We could maybe change that a bit. Give it some more, make it pop more, maybe like that. Shouldn't be too bright. Okay. We can then use just the color lookup and maybe select a LUT that could work. Let's go through them to see. Oh. Okay. Just giving it some more saturation. Okay, interesting. Crisp warm. That's crazy. But I kind of want to keep the general, like, I don't want to bury this sculpt in so much color. I still want to see it in the end. So maybe not too much saturation. All colors. Just taking out a little bit of color, changing it a bit. This one is also pretty... So the film stock gives us way more contrast, and the darks will be increased. I think the lights will be increased as well. Oh yeah, this one's nice, the foggy night. We could change that to a different mix mode maybe. And change the opacity. Let's go through some more. This one's pretty cool. Let's go through, just going through all of them to pick the best one. Okay, this one's pretty boring. It's just, oh, this one's cool as well. Putting in some more blues. changing the purple to some more bluish colors. Let's go through some more. Almost done. Can you just... Oh, you can just... Oh, this one's nice. Last few. This one's also pretty cool. I think I'm going to use the... Which one was it? Late sunset. And maybe change the mix mode. Let's see what we have here. Multiply. If the effect looks good, we can keep the mix mode and then decrease the opacity so it's not as crazy. Oh. Let's see, there was one up here that was pretty good. This one is pretty dark. This, I think I'm going to use multiply and then change the opacity. Okay, now we can go back in here and use a... yeah, let's use a gradient, curves. Maybe increase the white parts a little bit. Like that. Okay. So that's what it looks without all of these settings, and then we put those on there and it looks just a little bit better. We could... no, we'll keep it how it is. Also, oh, let's see what filters do we have. We put that to a smart object. We can delete the filters afterwards. There was a nice... What do you call them again? Lens flare effects in here. Maybe we could put those somewhere. But I think that's too much. I think there's already pretty like a lot going on. We could maybe decrease the opacity so it's not too strong. No. Let's remove that and let's go through another few. Not too many. Haven't used most of them before, so it's more like a trial and error. Maybe one of those looks good. Okay. I don't think this really does anything interesting. Ooh. Okay. No. Nope. We could use a... Let's make a new layer. Put this blue in there. And use a noise filter. Okay. Increase the strength. Okay. We can then change this mix mode. Maybe get some interesting results. This one looks pretty good. Put that lower. This just makes everything so dark, so I guess let's just remove it and let's keep it how it is right now. So we then save it. To keep these settings, if we want to change them later, how we did yesterday. And save it right there. And export it for web. Oh, my phone is ringing or vibrating. And there you go. Day 11 done. Let me just quickly put that on my phone and post it, and then we can go over to the big project. As I said before, today we're gonna go over, like, maybe hopefully we can finish the face. I kind of want to get close to getting a likeness in there so it actually looks like her. Hopefully I can get that. Yeah, let me switch back to Blender. And let me make a new, open the character 3. There you go, so you can look at the character already before we start. Looks kind of rough right now, but that's just how it works. First of all, I will put this on my phone and then post it, and then we can go and we start. There it is, this JPEG on my phone. Okay. Let me just remove a few from my phone. This one. Oh, I know why. I have to call them differently. No, actually no. Let me recall those. Let me rename. Okay, no, that's complicated. Let's just rename those. So, hold on, I'm almost done. Struggling right now. Let's call those day. Okay, these ones as well, rename. And there you go. Put that on there, and nice. Okay. Upload that real quick, and then we can go. So of course, the first thing we'll probably do, let me pull up my reference image editor so you can look at what we're going to go for. Her. Maybe you've seen her before. She's from an upcoming game, which is called Resident Evil 8, coming out I think in May, if I remember correctly. And yep, that's what we're going for. Maybe if you put that to smooth, we can see some more for I think there's shading right now, and the viewport looks kind of weird. Come on. Okay. So first up, we're gonna add hair. Then we're gonna add we're gonna try to get a similar lighting into these scenes so we can see if the light falls similar, that likeness goes in the right direction. We could also, no, let's not do that. Quick sketch day 11. What do you want to call this piece? Let's see. Quick sketch. What would be a good name for this image? Calm reflection. Or maybe vibrant reflection. Okay. I think the one to the piece 2 before this one today, I think day 9 it was. I said before it was the television I included, and I made like these tubes or funnels that go into the nothingness or into the background, and that piece, the name was pretty cool. I put the television 3D scan into the middle of the tube, or like in the front of the funnel, and then I called this piece tunnel vision. It was kind of funny. Put in some hashtags and then I'm done. I post these pieces now because sometimes I forget about it, and then I'm done streaming at like almost midnight, and then I have no time to post it, or maybe I even forget it. So if I post it right when I'm done with it, I still remember to do that. That's just easier for me. Let's see. Okay. Go on, one more. Oh, of course. And there you go. Post and done. Day 11 is done. Of course, now it's only on Instagram. I'm probably going to post it on, or I will post it on Twitter and Facebook as well, but that's going to be later. Just want to post it on one to have it posted somewhere, and then I can still post it later on the other platforms. So let's go in here and maybe do the lighting first. So right now she looked kind of dumb because she has no teeth, and also she just looks into the nothingness and looks more like a mannequin than a person. First things first, we need two very strong key lights. Wait, oh, it's down there. Let's make this one smaller first. Radius down. Light, I mean color can stay white. Put the power to 5000, maybe even more. I think 5000 should be good. Now let's change the position. Maybe even the radius. Make it bigger. Okay. So as you can see right there, you can see some differences. If I put the light more to the front, you can see the light is hitting her nose. It's the same for my model, but what's different is, for example, the mouth. Either I would have to push the cheeks some more to the front, or I would have to push the lips back. I would have to look into my reference to see which one would be more fitting. Other than that, let's see. I think there's one more light from the front, more from here. Put that to maybe 1000. Oh, that's still very bright. Oh, 200. That's still bright. 50. Okay. Then we use one more. You copy this one and put that to the other side. Maybe further back. Maybe even smaller. Like that. Okay. back isn't telling us too much, but it still can help. Put the radius up a little bit to make the shadows smoother, or the transition. Okay. Maybe decrease the power. The model is pretty small, so, or the scene is pretty small, so we don't need that much power. Okay. Now let's go back and first of all start the recording for this, and we're ready to go. So, oh, I need my tablet, of course. No sculpting without my tablet. There you go. Okay. Let's see. Let me pull up my reference. There it is. You can't see my reference sheet, but you don't really have to. I think this one's enough for you to see. Of course, you can't see where I'm scrolling through my references, but I don't want to put it somewhere where it wouldn't fit. And also, I can't record my reference sheet because when I do that, it just shows blank, like black. So there, either you can't properly record it, or I haven't found a way to do it. Okay. Let me go back to the flat view first, and then sculpting. Maybe let's use a different lighting. Different matte caps can give you different shading materials, basically, or lighting setups. Just going through a few to see what would be best. Yeah, I think we can just stay with the one we have. The other ones are pretty useless. Oh. Right, that. Okay. Then we need the reference back, and also bring back the 3D viewport, camera view, and the reference. Okay. So let me first select her face. So we're rotating around her face. Like that, and there you go. Okay. First of all, let me adjust her. I think the first thing we'll do is go in here, and we will push this cheek further to the front. Let me see the side view. Okay. Not too far though. She can look pretty thick if we do that. Okay. So, of course, as I said before, we're gonna talk about a topic today. And that topic will be, let me see, which one was it? Learning new skills during this situation, or overall, if you want to learn something new. So, first of all, of course, this is just my experience, how I learned Blender or any other program. This is maybe just a approach that's working for me, but of course you can try it. Maybe it works for you as well. So, first of all, there's nothing that's better for you to do if you want to learn a program or a task than just to do it. There's no theory in the world that can give you more practice than doing it yourself. Learning by doing, basically. That's my favorite way of learning anything, and I think that's the best way you can learn whatever you want to learn. Just because it's just so like effective. You can like read textbooks about what you want to learn, like for example, maybe not sculpting or like practical stuff, but more if you, for example, go to a uni or learn something more theoretical, like math. If you're maybe done with school, you probably know you can read all these formulas, but to really recognize or learn them and then apply them correctly, you have to do over and over just more and more calculations of that same formula, just to learn how you use it properly and what to avoid, what to look out for, which values you need and all that. So my advice first would be, for example, if you could make a challenge out of it. You could say, okay, I will get to know the basics of the program, and then I'm gonna make like 10 projects, like 10 small projects where I use these tools I've used before. And most likely, at least in my experience, you use those tools and at some point you hit a roadblock and you see, oh dude, I can't do what I want to do. So let me read up on what I have to do to accomplish what I want to do in this project. For example, you use, I don't know, Photoshop, and you want to paint a picture, or like, yeah, paint in there, and you want to have different radii, I guess, radiuses, depending on how hard you press on your graphics tablet, for example. Then you have to look up how you can activate that setting, or if you want to, I mean, the easiest example would just be backflips. If you want to learn how to do backflips, you can watch like millions of tutorials that give you like millions of information, but if you don't train it, then you're never gonna be able to do it. You're not gonna be like, at some point you've watched like 200 videos about it, and like you just at some point just can't do a backflip. You have to just learn it, because your body needs to, first of all, not only your brain has to learn it, but also your brain. Not only your brain has to learn it, but also your body. So, for example, if you've learned the basics, you can set yourself a goal of finishing 10 small, like just small projects that maybe take an hour or so, if even. That makes you comfortable with all the tools, for example, of a program, or if you have a skill, just repeating that skill, for example, 10 times, or depending on how easy or how short it is, you can do more. And just getting in reps, basically, to improve your comfort level in whatever you want to improve or learn. Let me set up there was one load UI, that was it. You deactivate that. That messed up the scene before. Okay. Next up, of course, one of the easiest way, or my process of learning any skill would be, first of all, to look up any YouTube videos that explain it. If you can't find the sufficient info you need, then I would maybe Google it. First of all, I would go to YouTube, then I would go to Google and look for some forum or like some articles that talk about it. And if you still can't find anything, you will most likely find some sort of course that can explain what you want to know in like a lot of detail. The best way would probably be to look for a certain, for example, YouTuber or kind of like some kind of person that you find most interesting to you, or most that can like transfer his knowledge to you the best. And then first of all, watch his videos, for example, or his articles. And if he has a course, this would probably be the best one to buy, because you know that his stuff helped you before his free stuff. And then if he has a course about a certain topic you want to learn about, he would probably be the best person to teach you what you want to learn. And if you can't find anything in on YouTube, if you can't find anything, any courses, any articles, the best thing then you can do is either make your own post in a forum, or just try to solve the problem yourself. Yeah, that would be my approach. But with all the programs and tools I've learned so far, which include not only Blender but also Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, InDesign, and After Effects, I've always found what I needed. So I think especially now in the time with YouTube and just the internet overall, I think you can find anything if you look hard enough. I think you will just only run into maybe like roadblocks, or like you won't find some specific stuff that you can't find. Okay, let me rephrase that. I think the highest likeliness, the highest likeliness of you not finding what you want to know will be for topics that are very specific. For example, I don't know, in Blender, how do you want to apply? I looked that up today. How do you use LUTs, lookup tables, basically similar to Instagram filters? How do you apply those in Blender, or if you could even do that? I found like 2 articles that talked about that, and they had no specific answers except one. So yeah, just if you go very specific, you could maybe expect to find less. But if you go and just start learning the program, I don't think you would have any difficulty learning it or finding sufficient information about it. And then, I could say what my approach was for learning Blender. I think that was a good way of doing it. First of all, my first thing that I did was just getting a nice beginner tutorial. If it's for like a skill, then there should be a beginner tutorial for that as well. And then after you've done maybe a few reps, basically repetitions of the same tools or skill you've learned, you can then go over to you can extend your knowledge or your skill. Once you think you're sufficient in what you want to learn, or the first part of it, of course you have to be realistic with yourself. Are you really as good as you think you are? Being too fast can lead to, if you do something physical, injuries, or if you, for example, as I always say, be very, very, what do you want to call it? Be very, okay, meticulous, I think it's called. Let me just look it up. I don't want to say something wrong. yeah, be very meticulous with the base knowledge, basically the most basic knowledge. Be very meticulous with that, just because if you mess up the basics, then immediately going to more specific knowledge, if you don't even know the basics, that will only lead to frustration and maybe you even canceling what you wanted to learn. If you look at a house, you first build your foundation, then you maybe put on the walls, and then comes the paint, decoration inside, lights and all that. And that's a good looking and also functional house. You can't just go in there and expect to learn the basics like super fast without much practice, and expect to like that for that to go right. And you should always prioritize learning correctly and meticulously, as I said before, than learning fast. Learning fast, I think, is not a good way to go. You should also not necessarily compare yourself in the beginning, because of course, as always, you're in the beginning stages, and at that point you shouldn't, for example, look at other people that maybe started at a similar time than you and are already further ahead than you, or you may think they are, but maybe they, for example, made the mistake of going too quickly through and learning specific knowledge without really practicing the basics, which can then screw them up later. Or most of the time, if you're a beginner and you look at other beginner stuff that you think is maybe better, most of the time it's maybe not better because you can't really see the faults because you don't know how to do it better. So just focus on yourself mostly, and yeah, just focus on what you want to learn, focus on how you can improve on it as effective as possible, and don't think about others. Next up would be probably always think critical about yourself and maybe even ask other people what they think about what you did, what you've created. Feedback is probably the most valuable, even criticism, feedback and criticism is probably the most valuable knowledge you can get, not only as a beginner, but always. Doesn't matter how good you are, there will always be people that are of similar skill and they can most likely always give you some feedback. It could be subjective, but especially if you are a beginner, it's most likely not like that subjective, more about execution and fundamental stuff that you can rather learn than like the beginner criticism is more about foundations and the execution and all that, rather than artistic interpretation or anything. So don't be scared, first of all, to ask people about it and think, for example, this dude's just subjective. His criticism is subjective. I'm not gonna listen to him. Most likely it's not. And even if it is subjective, if you've or if you think it is subjective, I mean, yeah, I think the best way to determine whether it is subjective or not would just be to ask yourself if you wanna, like, if you Okay, let me think about it about that some more. Put that to 12. Okay. So in the beginning, I would say thinking about whether or not criticism is subjective isn't really necessary to think about, just because it will most likely not be, because you're still a beginner, and people that are, you will most likely not ask your friends that have no idea what you're even doing in Blender, because they haven't used Blender before. You should always ask someone you think is better than you and could give you good feedback. And even if people just give you feedback that you maybe haven't even asked for, like, them to give you feedback, they can also give you valuable feedback. For example, your parents or your friends or just a random person from the internet can still give you valuable feedback. It's just your choice whether or not you want to execute on that feedback or not. Especially if you're like, it's always your choice whether or not you want to act on what other people say, and you should always think about what they say before you think, okay, so you shouldn't just ask people and just do what they say. You should always think about maybe why they would say that. If it's like more of a subjective criticism, if it's, for example, some execution criticism of using the tools wrong, or how you could improve your, I guess, in 3D, for example, renders, or how you could increase your model, I mean, improve your model. I think that's pretty non-subjective, but everything that could be subjective, you can always think to yourself whether or not you want to execute on that criticism or not. At the end of the day, if it's subjective, then you can always say, nope, I want it to look like that. And yeah, that's about it. Of course, sometimes criticism could seem subjective, how, for example, composition can be like subjective, but most of the time composition, for example, is also not necessarily subjective. It is more based on rules that worked for a long time, and why would you change these rules or not work with them, especially as a beginner? As a beginner, you should never try to like create exceptions without even knowing the basic rules that work for everyone. You can only really improvise or create new rules if you know what made these basic rules good. So deviating from those rules from the beginning is not a good idea. The hair looks kind of weird right now, but I'm still struggling to talk and sculpt at the same time. That's one thing I want to learn right now. Just talking while working. And my approach, as I said before, is just doing it. So right now I'm sculpting and I'm talking about a topic. It's kind of hard for me to think about the correct words and also work at the same time, but I think I'm doing better than I did the first time. So that's just one thing, like, especially in the beginning, you can recognize your improvements way faster and way easier than if you've done that specific skill or that specific that specific skill for a certain amount of time. For example, if you've done backflips for 2 years now, you will most likely not really see the difference between month, I don't know, 36 and month 30. Wait, is that 2 or 3 years? Doesn't matter. What I want to say is, the further you go, the less you will probably see your own mistakes or like lags in terms of like your lacking skill. So the further you go through your development of these skills, the more important outside information or outside feedback will be. Of course, you can always just learn more through watching more tutorials, more videos, or just doing more projects, because the more you do, the more you probably realize what you've done wrong before. But I think still feedback is one of the best ways to learn, especially if it's from somebody that has actual knowledge about what you want to learn. Dude, this hair is this hair is kind of hard actually. Let's see. Of course, I'm just trying to get this rough shape in there, not too crazy, not too detailed. Just trying to get this general shape in there. Not looking to make this photorealistic. This isn't even the proper hairstyle I want to have for her. Yep, so just to recap, first of all, first rule, repetition, repetition, repetition. The more you do it, the more you'll learn, and the more efficient you'll get. Secondly, or next up, feedback is your friend. Don't take any criticisms personal, especially when you ask for criticism. I think people sometimes too quickly think it's directed at them rather than their work, and that can really hinder their improvement or their like progression in improving. Never think, first of all, to like never think the feedback is directed at you personally. Most likely it's more about your work, especially if it's like a person that you just know from the internet. They most likely won't know you, and how could they talk about your person or talk about you personally if they don't even know you? Next up would be probably just keep doing projects to learn the basics, and then while doing these projects include more and more complex or new techniques, new ways of doing stuff, new ideas. Bring all of those into your next projects to increase your knowledge and your skill set. Of course, if you bring that to backflips, you could say, okay, let's learn the backflip first, and then if you then can do a backflip, maybe I don't know how backflips, how you would learn backflips the most effective way, or what the stages are. But for example, then you could say, okay, now I can do a backflip. How about I learn doing a backflip by standing, jumping, doing the backflip, and then standing on your feet again. Not only like landing on your feet, but really standing straight. And then also, okay, let's try to get this backflip done. Let's try and get a double backflip. And then you can just work on either getting better at what you do, or increasing the I wouldn't say skill ceiling, but just reach higher and higher for every rep or every project you do. If you would talk about Blender, for example, or any creative project, you could say first you make this, what I do right now, you make these sculpting here. Looks kind of bad, but that's just rough to see a general feeling for it. You sculpt your hair, but then you want to make it more realistic. So you go ahead and you say to yourself, okay, I want to sculpt, but I've done a lot of sculpts. How can I improve my sculpts, my hair sculpts, or what new techniques could I use to increase, to not only make myself more effective in sculpting hair, but also what would be good ways to maybe not, or what would be better ways to make hair. Maybe sculpting isn't really the best way for you, at least. Maybe you want to achieve a certain style that's pretty hard to do in using these sculpt tools. So maybe you should switch to something else, maybe curves, hair curves, whatever. And also, especially if you look at like big artists or something, inspirations of you, if you see, oh, this person's using a certain program, I have to use this program to learn about it, especially if you're a beginner. Most of the time, it's not really the tool that's doing the work, it's more the skilled artist. A skilled artist can work in different programs just as well. He may have to adjust to the different settings or tools, or like interfaces, but he can achieve similar results in different programs. So don't say like, okay, he uses, for example, this person is great at doing backflips and he has this mat below him. I need to get the same mat to do a backflip just as good as him, or just as good, like to be as good as he is. That's most likely not the case. He just knows how to do them, like the backflips, and also has the skill to do it, so you can basically do it anywhere. But he just has this mat. Maybe he just bought it at some point, or yeah, it's not really the mat that gives him the power of doing it. This curly hair is so annoying to sculpt. The most annoying thing is especially that I don't even know if I'm in a good direction, just because I can't really see the hair, because it's below her, like she wears a hat, so half of her head isn't even visible, or half of her hair, which is not really helpful in this situation. I also just saw that from her view, left side is her hair is pulled back. So let's do that, just to see, or just to adjust it to the real subject. Something like that. course, not going for insane detail, just getting the rough shapes in there. That's all we want. Okay. That should be good enough for now. Maybe her hairline is quite it's a little bit off. I don't think she has a receding hairline, so let's adjust that. Okay. This should be good for now. I think it gets the job done. So let's switch to the face again. I think let's look at her from the side view. I think one of the things we have to adjust are the eyebrows. I think the eyes are too far in the front, so we have to push those back. Not the nose though. Maybe just mask that. Okay. Okay. So let's push this back. Of course, looks kind of weird with the eyeballs popping out, but we're gonna adjust those in just a second. Okay, let's adjust the eyeballs. Looks pretty good. Let's adjust the face some more, the eyes. Sculpt mode. Remove the mask. I think that's better than before. Maybe even a little bit closer together. Let's see. Are her eyes more in the middle? Checking the reference. Yeah, I think her eyes can be a little bit closer to the center of the face. Oh no. Oh no. I deactivated symmetry. Oh, oh, wait, hold on. There's a trick we can use. Okay, now, if you've adjusted one side, but you saw that you forgot to use symmetry, you can go in here, down here. It is in... Wait, can you do that? It would probably destroy my retopology, right? Maybe not. Let's see. Go to X. No, you can't. Why can you not? I guess because it's... Okay, well, let's just go back. I think if you don't have a multi-resolution modifier, you can... If you saw that you've made a mistake of not applying symmetry, you can go in here, select, I think one of these, no, you can go in here, direction, you can select the direction that it should be symmetrized, and then you can click on here, symmetrize, and it'll symmetrize the sculpt. Sounds kind of weird, but yeah, that's how it works. But I think because I use multi-resolution, that does not work for me. Just pushing it back because the eyes are further into the skull. Maybe this is too much, but we can adjust it later. Or in a second. Push the eyes back. Okay. Let's see. And I think her eyes can be closer to the center of her face. So let's do that. Just a little bit, not too much. Like that, not too much. Okay. Maybe push this back a little. Okay. Then move this closer in. Okay. We should go to the eyes. Maybe we should put them closer together. Actually, looks kind of okay. Maybe we could put them a little bit closer. Like that. Okay. Let's switch back to solid view and sculpting. Okay. Yeah, as I said, learning a skill is more about repetition than learning about it. Or learning a skill is more about practice than theory. No amount of theory can prepare you for a certain task. That's why in the job world, experience is so valuable. Because if you have someone that studied a certain job and someone that just did it for years, the person with the degree might have more knowledge, but he isn't necessarily more skilled at applying that knowledge. And that's mostly why people with more experience will be selected from all the applicants. Maybe we should pull her lip, like the corner of her lips a little bit down, so she isn't looking like she's smiling, because that could distort her features as well. Okay. Let's put more emphasis on this fat pad down here, just a little bit, not too much. Okay, like that, not too much. Okay, let's look at her from the front. Okay, maybe from the angle you can see. Let's put her into rendered view to see the shadows and lights. Oh, hello. I think that's because we're in sculpt mode. Okay. This looks definitely better. If you look at her mouth, let's put that to smooth shading. You can see her, I mean, her chin is still lit up. That's just, I think that's just because the lighting isn't perfectly as it is in here. And now you can see only the corner of her lip is lit up, and it's more similar to the reference. We could maybe adjust it a little bit more, but I think we get we're good on the right track. Okay, of course, as I said yesterday, still working on my likeness sculpts. That's one thing I want to improve on right now. Likeness sculpting is one thing I want to get good at. The most projects I have in Blender right now is more recreation than original characters. And that's because I want to get better at likenesses, like likeness sculpting. That's one of the skills I want to learn, and that's why I do more and more projects involving reconstruction. No, what would you call that? Rebuilding, reconstruction, resculpting, I guess. Just likeness sculpting in general. That's why I do it so much, because I want to get better at it. I want to create, like, I want to see characters in 2D and want to recreate them in 3D. That's what my plan is, or my goal. Like, I want to put more emphasis on real life people, like realistic people, rather than characters like Disney characters or something, because they have more, like, real people just have more depth in terms of their faces. They're not as round, they have more detail, they have more unique features, for example the nose. So I focus more on realism than cartoon or simplified characters. Stylized characters, I mean. This line down here is so harsh. We could maybe make that a little bit easier. Just smooth that out. Shouldn't be too harsh. Or like that, that's better. Maybe add some more volume in here. Always making sure that always keeping in mind that there are fat pads. And we cannot forget those. That was one of my realizations when I learned sculpting, or I'm still learning sculpting, but in my 2 years of experience in Blender, and I think like 1.5 years of experience in sculpting, one of the realizations, the biggest ones, were that people have fat pads in their faces, which really determine the shape of a face, or can determine the shape of a face. So always keeping those in mind is very important. Especially in female faces, because they tend to have more fat pads. My goal is probably at some point, or one of my projects I want to do at some point, is to sculpt either YouTubers or Twitch streamers I watch. I almost only watch YouTube, because Twitch isn't really how I enjoy watching content, except for when I just want to have something in the background, just listening to something. Then I would probably switch to Twitch if there's nothing I could listen to on YouTube. But otherwise I'm mostly just using YouTube, because my recommendation feed almost always has something I can watch or listen to. I also think like subscriptions get less and less important, just because the recommendations or the recommendation algorithm feeds you so much like content that's relevant for you that you, at least I, don't even go to my subscriber feed anymore. I think a few years back that was more the case for me. Now I just go to my start screen and I already see the new video of that specific YouTuber I watched a lot. So I don't even have to look for it or like go to my subscriber feed. It may appear later, but I don't know. I don't really have a specific YouTuber I follow too close that I have to watch every video as soon as it comes out. Except maybe for what is it? CG Artist React or 3D Artist React from Corridor Digital. That's one of the series that I always watch, because it's not only informative but also entertaining. Interesting. Let me paint in some eyebrows again, just to see. Eyebrows are always important. If you saw a person without with shaved eyebrows, sometimes it can be pretty hard to recognize them, that it's like them. So painting in eyebrows using, for example, the mask tool can be quite helpful. Okay, maybe even eyelashes or makeup, especially for female characters, can be very important, because sometimes you don't even know, or most of the time, if they have like huge makeup. She, for example, has a lot of makeup. Just looking at the eyes is most of the time not enough for you to guess how big her eyes are or what the proportions of her eyes are. So painting in those makeup, like the makeup and lipstick or eyebrows especially, is very important to get the proportions right. That's also why I made this easy hair crop, just so I can see what she looks like with hair, because you can believe me that there's no screenshot of her without any hair. And I mean, I at least don't think so, because it's the character that's not even released yet officially. Like, the game isn't released yet, so no one could be able to rip the model out of the game. Okay, let's see. I think one of the things I have to change is her like, the face is too round right now. I think I have to make it more square-ish. Right now round in general. So I would probably just go in here and just push in the sides of her face a little bit. Not too much, of course, as we know. Small changes make a big difference. Okay, let's see. Okay, maybe we could make her jaw a little bit wider, not too much though. Okay, I think that's better. She has more of a square jaw now. Not too much, but more like enough. Enough is what we're looking for. Then we're gonna chisel her jaw some more. Of course, her jaw isn't really chiseled, but it'll be easier to recognize then, or put in the shape, and then we can put in fat afterwards. Okay, but let's go to material preview so we can see the. Okay, let's see. Just checking the reference to see if there's anything that's apparent right now. Let me put on. Oh, you can't. Okay. Let's look from the side. I think her nose shape is a little bit different. So let's adjust that. She has more of a hook nose, not too bad, but as I said, slight changes are important. Okay. Of course, compared to the last character I did, which took me 3 hours to fully complete, this will be a longer process because I want to get this right. And the character I did on Tuesday was more like a speed sculpt, and I had no person I wanted to recreate. I just had some characteristics of a character that I wanted to implement into the sculpt. So there was no real character I could like compare it to, which is of course easier because you can then just do whatever you want. Let's see her eye shape. Okay. The outer corner of her eyes is above her inner corner. That's one important thing. If you, for example, put it down here, it looks way different than if you put it up there. Most of the time, putting it above the inner corner will make it look more feminine. One thing I learned as well is we can go in here. Let me put that to 85. Okay, we could then go. We could just make a nice screenshot of this. For example, like here. Okay, go in make a screenshot, just like that. We can then open Photoshop and then just use, for example, the liquefy tool or draw on some eyebrows and all that. So we can see if or what changes could work without having to sculpt them in. Okay. We can also more easily like put in hair or a hat. Let's make a new image. I'll switch the scene in a second. Let me just set up this setting or this file, and then we can go. I don't know why, but my Photoshop is so slow creating or opening files. Maybe there's some sort of setting I can adjust that'll let me apply more RAM to the program, because it's so slow right now. Okay. Let me switch the scene. There you go. You can now see my window. Let me increase the size. That should be enough, maybe a little bit more. There you go. Okay. Nice. Okay. So, first of all, we go in here and we make a new layer. We're just gonna paint on some eyebrows before, but I think it's easier in Photoshop than in Blender itself. Okay, I don't know why, but we have 6 hours of music in the playlist and I still get the same songs. I don't want to just like, okay, let me skip this one. This is kind of an annoying song. Okay, let's go. Oh, wrong button. Okay. Of course, the problem is right now, I don't know why, but Photoshop will not recognize my brush. If you go to this, oh, wait, what? Yeah, see, it says it uses my pressure, but when I paint, it does it like a little bit, but not really effective. It like it says it does, but it's not really working that well. You can see that this part is thicker, but it should work like this. Like this straight, like it's very thick in the middle and then it can be very thin on the end. But that's not how it works. I don't know what's happening, but whatever. Let's go in here and make these eyebrows. Maybe make it smaller to have more control. And then once we have our eyebrows in here, eraser. Okay. This is just a good way to see if you're on the right track, especially because you can more easily paint in features. And also you can, for example, if you don't like the hair, you can just paint in better or like more easily different hair, or you can also use the liquefy tool to move around the features so they might look better, and you can use that to more easily identify what you have to change to make it look better. Okay, let's put in some makeup. First the base and then the eyelashes. Okay, also put in the eyeballs or iris. That's very important. We put that to a opacity of, okay, what? 20, okay, nope. 25. Oh, dude, let me paint on there. Why is it messing with me? I hate that when Google just decides to activate some sort of setting that screws up everything. Okay, it works again. Okay. Do the same on this side. Looks kind of similar, but I think he's kind of cross-eyed, but whatever. Just trying to get the rough details in there. Put the opacity up. Okay. Like that. It's not gonna look perfect, but that's not what we're looking for. We're just looking for decency, so we can see stuff to improve on. We can also pull in a reference to compare the proportions. We can do that in a second. Okay, now we can, for example, just make this bigger. Like that. That's a very aggressive color. Let's just use this color and then... Oh. Okay. Let me pull in one of those reference images. Character 3, references. Which one is it? It's this one. We can then just go in here, reduce everything we don't need, so we just need her face, basically. And of course, this is not really the perfect comparison, but it's better than nothing. So we just use that. That's the best front up shot I was able to find. Okay, let me just put that on there and see what it looks like. Of course, the perspective isn't perfect, as I said before, but that's the best we have. Oh. Put that to the side. So I don't know if her face is longer or not. maybe her eyes are more like higher up. Let's see if we adjust that. Let me put those two in a smart object. Then we can use a liquify tool. Go in here, zoom in. Ooh. Can you even see that? Like that, okay. Okay. We can then use the liquify tool to maybe adjust it a little bit. Come on, how do you make it smaller? Can you make this window smaller? Okay. Nice. Put that lower. Not too low. Okay, this should work. Oh. There you go. I hate this setting, dude. When it just delays the input because whatever setting is applied in Windows. It's so annoying. Like, oh, you press your graphics tablet. You want to use your graphics tablet? Let's put in a 1 second delay. And then let's not even work. Okay. No, that's too high. Maybe would I think we have to adjust them in Blender. I think that's easier. So let's switch back to Blender. Oh, scene switch. There you go. And nope. Let's close Photoshop and work in here some more. So I have one more reference shot that is more from the front, but you can see only half her face, which is really annoying. I don't know if her hat would make a big difference. I don't think so. Let's compare these two. Of course, I'm not gonna sit here and make this like perfect. Just trying to get this a little bit closer to the original than it is right now. I'm not gonna sit here and work on this forever. It's not fun and not really like useful use of my time for once, because it's, as I said before, just getting in the reps is better than making a perfect project. Getting reps in is better than making one perfect rep, because you're never gonna get a perfect rep. You're always gonna think, dude, there's something I can improve on, and then you work on the same project forever and ever and ever. You're never gonna finish it. Okay. I think we can pull her nose down a little bit. The whole nose. No. Let's keep it up there. I think that's better. But we can pull up her cheekbone just a little bit, and that should be better. I think too many people ask, how did you learn Blender? And they should rather ask, what would you suggest I use to learn Blender? I mean, they're basically the same question, but, or I would give the same answer, but I think people, I don't know, are more focused on yeah, well, no, forget that. That was a dumb thought. Okay, I think one thing we could adjust to make it look better is the neck. So let's do that. First of all, let's give her a collarbone. Put that in there. Maybe that'll help as well. Make this look more realistic. Or more like her. Her neck. Look from the side. Her neck is quite thick and round, not as defined as you would see in other people. Okay. But also keep in mind how the muscles will, where the muscles are located underneath the skin, what the structure of the neck looks like. Usually it's a good idea to do put in the muscles first, of course, then fat pads, and then smoothing it. If you do the rough parts first, the defined parts first, you can then still smooth them out to make them look more soft, or yeah, soft. I think I should pull her face forward. I mean, like, her face is pretty flat, and I think she has a more elongated face. So if we just pull it forward a bit, everything in the middle, I think that'll help. Okay, we have to adjust the eyes. Yeah, I think that really improved it. I think that's one of the things I'm not too comfortable with yet. The depth of the face. Making faces like deep, and not in terms of their meaning and whatever, more in terms of their geometrical depth. So eyes can be pretty deep inside of the face, or for example, I pulled her face out of it, her mouth is further forward. I think her mouth can even be flatter now that her whole face is more pulled forward. Okay, we have to keep in mind that the nose shouldn't be too far forward. Okay. Pull the corners back a little bit. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Comparing it to the reference. I mean, it looks definitely better than before. Maybe. Let me see the other reference. Okay, I think we can smooth out this part a little bit. That shouldn't be too crazy. I think we don't have enough geometry right now to put in the details. Also make this thinner. Okay. Make sure that the corner of the eye is roughly on the same horizontal plane than the corner of her nose. Okay. Let's see the rendered view with the lighting. Okay. I don't know if her face is still too... I gotta check some more different angles to really see. Let me switch back to solid view. Make this smooth, flat. And let's go back in. We can go into... Let me check some more angles, just so we have different angles. Okay. Okay, let me check the front view again. I think her scope mode. This part can be wider. More like that. Okay. That looks better. Let me lift this cheekbone up a little bit. Not too much, just a very tiny bit. That should be enough. Okay. We could maybe change the shape of the bottom lip a little bit. Push it outwards. I think that's better. Okay. I think we can go deeper now. Get more detail in there. So let's save that. Just looking through it one more time, and then we're gonna get more detail in there. Okay. Let's get some more depth. Detail. We go in here and select the multi-resolution, subdivide that. There you go. And it's smooth again. Yay. Time for more detail. First of all, let's adjust the nose. She has this very prominent V shape in her nose, tip of her nose. That's what I'm trying to get in right now. Of course, there isn't really the perfect reference for her in terms of likeness sculpting. Just because you would usually, the best way or the best reference is a 360-degree image with very shallow depth, so a lot of, what do you call it, the field of view? No. The focal length should be really high, so the image is flatter. I don't know how else I would describe it. That basically lets the face appear more like you can see the proportions better if the face is flatter. Because if you have a super low focal length, it stretches the face like a lot, which makes your nose appear bigger, your chin or your jaw smaller or like not as wide, and getting a nice flat shot with like a high amount of focal length is really valuable for likeness sculpting. Okay. Now we get closer to the details part, but right now we're mostly working on the secondary shapes, which is just a lower level of like base shapes, I guess. But what I mean by that is for example, this part here, the I don't know what you would call that, the space between the lip and the nose. We're not putting in pores yet. We're not putting in these wrinkles in the lips. We're still working on the shapes that define the face, but the ones that are less important and have less of a an impact on the appearance of the face. But they're still important, so we're working on them. As you can see, just adding those two lines can add so much to a character. So much more like character. The character gets more like unique. Let's go back to this reference and work on this. Make sure that the nasolabia fold is correct, which is what I'm working on right now. Okay. Putting in these muscles at the corner of the lips can also make your character appear more happy or more like as if he's or she's smiling. Which can be quite helpful if you, for example, make a very happy person or a just in general nice person. We can now define the eyes some more. For example, this edge right here. Also in the middle, this edge. And then up here, just giving it some more sharpness. Increasing the size of the fat pad down here. Okay. As you see, these streams in the like the 2 days that I mostly work on my project are more like quieter and like laid back, just because I want to focus on this character and also like I want to improve on my skills, which means I want to really focus on what I'm doing, what I'm thinking about, and I want to get this right and I want to improve. Okay, this looks kind of weird. Okay, looks better now. We could now also put in the fold up here, where the fat meets the eye lid. Okay, like that. Looks pretty good. Maybe put in some more fat down here. That will help. I think that's similar to the reference. Also, maybe digging in here some more. Okay, not too far. Could maybe push this in a little bit more. Okay. Like that, okay. Kinda looks like she's smiling, but trying to not smile. I think that's just because of these muscles right here. Maybe we could reduce that by changing their shape a little bit. Okay. Okay, that's better. Smoothing the nose a little bit. Shouldn't be too rigid. Adjusting this shape from the side. Okay. Now it comes down to, like, first we had the big shapes, now we're working on the secondary shapes, which will be smaller, so we have to look more into the details. Really pay attention to small changes that can have a lot of impact. Like that. Okay. Let me check my reference. Okay. Sometimes these whatever they call, these matte caps can also like look differently than if you would just use lighting, which can make it harder to see what's actually like a wrong shape or stuff you would have to adjust. Sometimes that just makes it harder to see. Let's adjust the lips a little bit more. give them some more detail or secondary shapes. The lips are basically, the bottom lip is split into two parts. This part and this part over there, like two balls basically, two ovals. And the top part is split into three. Okay. Let's do the top part. Like that. Also change the shape, give this some more volume at the front. And then this twists and goes inside of the mouth at the corners. Okay. The nose looks kind of weird right now. Let's see if we can adjust that. Okay. Sometimes this matte cap highlights areas more that you wouldn't see as much in your usual view or in your rendered view, which makes it kind of annoying sometimes to see stuff that might not even have to be like, that looks wrong, but it's not wrong. So seeing if it really has to be adjusted sometimes can be a challenge. As you can see right there, the geometry is too big to really put in some details yet, so let's not do that. We could maybe work on her neck some more. The ear, I mean, it's not that important, but we can put in some more detail in there as well. Okay. Let me maybe let me see the front view again. Okay. That looks okay, I think. think I've reached the point soon where I can't really see any more things to improve on, so it's time for some details. I think it just comes down to more practice in this kind of, in this regard, of just getting in more, like doing more likeness sculpts to get in more practice and like improve my eye for detail and what makes it what makes a face, like what's important in the proportions and all that. Okay. For example, now for me, as I said before, learning a new skill. In the beginning, you can really see your improvement so well. If you look like at a project from 2 months ago, you can really see how much you've improved. But at some point, the changes or the improvement has diminishing returns. Basically, it gets less and less visible. You may improve, but it's more in the details than the main execution. Or like, yeah. Let's see. What if we pull her eyes lower just a little bit? So we go down here, change the level. Oh. Just pull her eyes down a little bit. Maybe mask the nose so this doesn't get pulled down. Like that. And then just a little bit more. For me, it was always the problem of making the eyes, putting the eyes higher than they maybe need to be. Okay, putting the eyeballs lower. Okay. I think that helped. Yeah. Let's save that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Tomorrow's already Friday. End of the week, or at least the work week. Time to enjoy the weekend. I mean, enjoy not really for me. I mean, depends on how you look at it. I'm gonna help move my, like, help my, I guess, grandparents move. We're in the last steps, so I guess next up they're gonna move over to their new home, their new apartment, and then I think we're finally done. I would have preferred to do all of it in one go, like grabbing all the furniture and all that, maybe in two goes, rather than doing it over a period of multiple weekends. Because driving there and getting all the stuff one weekend, then driving there again and doing the same, I think it just, the accumulative time of driving there is so much that I would have preferred to like drive there once or twice and grab everything and put it over there. But I think my grandparents preferred it that way over multiple weekends, just because they can think about, like, can think more about what they want to keep and whatnot, or what they want to keep, like, take with them. We're not gonna like put everything in the trash right away, but still. I don't think they're really gonna go back again and grab some more stuff from their house that they haven't gotten in the first place, like in the beginning. Most of the stuff has more sentimental value than really like monetary value. At least in my eyes. I think sometimes people looking from the outside in can see more realistically what can like be trashed and whatnot. But I think sometimes you have to see both sides or listen to both sides. I'm more like a person that doesn't have that much sentimental value placed on objects. For example, I mean, pictures maybe are different, but I think also pictures are more valuable for older people, just because now you can just save them on your phone or on the internet. Back in the day, you would always like have to stash them somewhere, save them, and then pull them out at some point and look at them. I think now it's way easier and more convenient, and you can also just make a lot more images or pictures, so the individual value isn't as high anymore. One thing I never really liked, so like when I was younger, I was never really a fan of taking pictures. Now it's not as bad anymore. But what I don't like is the concept of posing for a picture. That may sound weird, but just I don't like like, I think the authenticity should be like in the image. It's okay to sometimes post, like, make a picture of you and somebody else, or just you posing in front of some I don't know, landscape or building or whatever. But if you pose for every picture, I think that's just, or every image, I think that's a bit overkill and makes the image less good. I think the best images are those that you just take while, for example, sightseeing, and then just like taking a picture while going through the city organically, rather than acting like, oh dude, go and open this door and act like you just came through this door. Just go and take pictures while you while you go. I think that's so much better than trying to pose for every picture. Also, like for like food pictures, stuff like, oh dude, this steak looks so good. Why don't you let's make a photo of you sitting there and having your fork and the knife in your hand, and I'll make a photo. Why don't you just grab your whatever phone or whatever and just shoot a picture, like take a shot, rather than having to pose for it. I think that's so annoying. That just disrupts the experience for the person that is on the photo, except for when they want like to be like they want the photo to be taken. Otherwise, I don't know, it's just annoying to me. Just take your phone and shoot an image of how I get my steak or whatever, or how I take my first bites, or even my last bite. Maybe not your last, but like right when I'm in the middle of it. I think that's just so much more. That has so much more value, and like you can take so much more out of that image than me just sitting there in front of the steak and smiling. That has so much less like emotional value, because you're not really capturing the moment. You're capturing like a, I don't know, you're capturing like, yeah, like a scene, not really the moment. Photos should be taken to be like to remember the moment, and not to remember how you pose for that picture. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Okay, let's bring back the mask just to check. Now that we have more geometry, we can do that more easily and put in some more detail. Or more precision rather than detail. While having these nice Halloween tunes on. Yeah, I don't know. Somehow you get the same songs. I have like 6 hours of music, but I still get the same songs. It's so weird, because sometimes I think when I like to have like a playlist of songs and then just hit random and just play them. I don't like to hear the same song after the same song. What do you call it? Let me look it up. Yeah, the same sequence or same order of the songs. I like to have it random, so it does not get as it does not get boring as fast as if you just play it from the beginning to the end the exact same way all the time. I'm also just, in general, more of a person that likes to enjoy the moment than having to take a picture of it. My dad is more like, if I like went to like on vacation or something, and then he would like ask, okay, why did you not make more photos? And I'm just like, I want to enjoy I want to enjoy what I see in front of me and not take a picture of it. Or sometimes when I sometimes I feel inclined to do it, but most of the time I don't force myself to take pictures to remember it later. Maybe I'll regret that at some point, but not yet. I'm not at that point yet. Okay. Just checking the reference again. Maybe let's adjust the tip of the nose. Okay. Like that. Okay, slow and steady wins the race. Really trying to get this right. But I think I've reached a point where I can't really change much. The good thing is with multi-resolution, you can always go back to lower levels of detail and work on those again, which is a big plus that you don't have if you don't work with multi-resolution. Yeah, so if you want to change big shapes, you can still do that. It's not that easy if you don't have that luxury. Oh, we could change the ears a little bit, give it some more detail. Maybe we could hide the hair. Okay. Pretty quick. Doesn't take long to define the ear shape and the more secondary shapes. Just refining what we already have. Looking at my ear reference as well. The ear isn't that important, but I mean, if we have reference, why not use that for the ears as well? I was planning on making a small tutorial, probably on Monday, about one of the quick sketches I did, because I liked it so much. Like, for example, like how to turn a 3D scanned globe into a abstract 3D scene, I guess, or just artwork, which would probably just be like 5 minutes or so. I would rehearse how I made it and then just show it, make a video out of it, because I think it looked really cool. I have it as my phone background now, and yeah, I think I would maybe do a speed art first of it and then make a more in-depth explanation. I did one speed art before that for YouTube. I do more of those on Twitter and Facebook rather than YouTube, because I don't want to spam like 3-minute videos, because that's not really the content I want to put out on YouTube. It's more for Twitter and Facebook. Okay, so as I said before, I've reached a point where I don't really know what I could improve. The best way to maybe figure that out is to leave this artwork, I mean this piece, and come back later. So, you might have guessed it, it's time to stop, as Shia LaBeouf likes to say, which means I'm gonna call it here. Just gonna finish this ear, and then we're gonna probably work on this piece on I guess on Monday. Yeah, Monday should be another time to do this. So we're gonna work on this on Monday. We've reached a good point. There's probably some stuff you can still adjust, but I can't really see it right now. Maybe the nose. But yeah, I'm gonna save that and call it here. We've reached a good spot. Next up, either if I find anything I want to change, I'll do that next time. If not, then we can go over to the details, going more in depth, and then working on the hair. That's probably the next step, or maybe before we do that, we could put in her teeth. And yep, that's the next step. Once we've finished the sculpt itself, it should go faster. I mean, hair will probably still take a while, just because it's hair. But I think I'm gonna be more like, I'm gonna not pay attention too much on these tiny hairs. I'm gonna go for more of a rough hair sculpt, or not hair sculpt. I'm probably gonna use hair, not particles, but hair parts. Okay, let's save that. Go back to object mode, and even just switching to object, switching to layout. Even just this view looks different than the other one. So it's sometimes pretty hard to see different like stuff you want to change. Okay. But that's gonna be it for today. Let me stop my recording. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed your stay. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And maybe I'll see you again. Maybe not. Maybe... yeah, maybe you've learned something. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And that's about it.